Quick disclaimer, I actually really like Madoka Magica, but there's a lot of things wrong with it that people don't seem to want to talk about, and given that I kind of wanted to write my own series in a similar vein, I thought I'd go over it and see what works and what doesn't for the benefit of everyone, and also make some jokes along the way, because who doesn't like a good joke? Also, for this video, I'll be ripping off CinemaSins. Go check out CinemaSins and their partner channels because they are a lot funnier than I am and do this a lot better than I do, and the narrator isn't as annoying. The Kaname family has a giant garden with no apparent borders between it and the forest they live in. This blanket is unmoving plaid, also known as perspective incorrect texturing, and while I'm not saying the animators were lazy, I am saying that it makes my head hurt.
Wake up! Wake up!
This doesn't wake up the mom. Neither does this. That is super rude. Where did Tatsuya go? He was sitting on the blanket. He should be on the floor now. This is the biggest bathroom in the universe. Only one of the parents has a job, and there are 4 people living in the house. You do not need a bathroom this big and this empty. Also, the mirror is see-through. What good is a see-through mirror? Where are all of these extra reflections coming from? Madoka and her mom are commenting on the teacher's love life like it's any of their business.
If it's not the real thing, this is usually when it starts to fall apart. But if they made it this far, they should be okay for another year.
Those statements are contradictory.
A woman's judged by her looks, so you can't compromise.
Empowered businesswoman gives advice to her daughter on the basis that she will be judged for how she looks and nothing else. Despite the mess on his face, Tatsuya doesn't know how to fork.
Want some more coffee?
Ooh, better not.
Better not, she says, immediately drinking more coffee. Apparently, Madoka walks 10 miles to school and back every single day. Opening theme spoils most of the ending. This montage of Madoka growing up is actually really cute, and I'm going to take a send-off for it. Anime character stands in a giant blue sky room that has nothing but blue sky and also wind from somewhere.
I think your mom's way cool, Madoka. I mean, she's smart, gorgeous, and successful.
Gratuitous compliments. I can't tell if Madoka is actually unhappy with this. If she is, it makes Sayaka a terrible friend, and if she isn't, then Sayaka's just super weird. Excuse me? Where did all these people in this giant road come from? They were walking on an abandoned trail in the woods next to a river. You could see that there was no one behind her in the last shot. This teacher would have been fired a long time ago, or at least given a reprimand, and she would not be doing this in class. Teacher could easily hurt someone by swinging that pointer around. If her boyfriend really judges her beauty based on her cooking, then he is at least as crazy as she is, and they deserve each other. Sayaka turns and mutters to Madoka like she is right in front of her, but in the next shot it's revealed that they're sitting 2 apart diagonally, and there's no way they could have had that conversation without the teacher noticing. Now they're back to this impossible space-time classroom where they sit in front of each other.
Whoa, she's super gorgeous.
I know this is just how animation works, but Homura looks exactly like any of the other girls in the classroom but with long black hair. When Madoka's mom said she was fabulous, she sparkled. Why doesn't Homura sparkle, or at least glow a little bit? It would let us know that there's something different about her, like Sayaka seems to imply when she shouts, "She's gorgeous." Maybe it's some quirk of the language or culture, I don't know, but why does Homura pick up a marker and finish her name when the teacher seemed perfectly capable of doing it herself? These girls do not lay off talking to Homura even though she is clearly not interested. What is wrong with you?
I could have sworn she was glaring at you.
You could not possibly have known who Homura was looking at because they were sitting in rows and Madoka was behind you.
Good idea. Can I come too?
Why does this girl want to come with them to the nurse's office? What a coincidence that Madoka just happens to be the nurse's aide for this class. What would have happened if she or any other version of her hadn't been? In a minute, Homura says that Miss Automi told her that Madoka is the nurse's aide, but she doesn't explain this to anyone else and nobody seems to think it's weird that she's psychic.
How do you know your way over there? I mean, you're new here.
Madoka would be great at... well, I guess not CinemaSins. Sentenzair? Madoka doesn't think it's weird that Homura doesn't answer her questions. I know Homura has probably tried this before, but why isn't she a little more direct and say something like, if a small white alien ferret gives you the option to make a wish at great personal cost, do not take it. I'm going to get into this more later when it becomes apparent what's going on, so I'm going to leave it there for now and not get sidetracked too much. What was I talking about?
I hope she doesn't think acting like a weird transfer student is cool. That's so mooey, it makes me sick. Awesome. You're a cliche anime character too.
Sayaka would be great at Sentenzair.
All I know is that it was really strange and spooky.
And also that Homura was there, right?
You might not remember meeting her, but your subconscious certainly took note of it.
Seriously? That's a heck of a coincidence, don't you think?
They are both correct. Futuristic music store still has giant headphones.
Oh.
This may seem like a small thing, but this is one of the biggest problems I have with this entire series. Madoka hears a voice in her head, tells no one about it, including the friend who she is at the music store with, and follows it into the abandoned under-construction wing of the mall. If that had been anyone but a telepathic magical girl ferret mascot, she would be super dead. Madoka does not immediately run away to get a security guard, or a veterinarian, or an adult of any kind. Also, if Kyubei was so beat up he can't move, how did he get into that vent? Why is Kyubei panting? Madoka finds a talking, telepathic ferret with bright red eyes and rings around its ears that do not obey the laws of physics, and does not immediately run away to find a security guard, or a veterinarian, or an adult of any kind, or a baseball bat! If you're trying to get Madoka away from Kyubei, saying literally anything else would be better than what you were saying right now, which is nothing. Sayaka is a ninja. But the fire extinguisher thing is pretty funny, so I'm gonna take off a sin. Homura has time-stopping powers, and later we see her destroy Kyubey in one move without even so much as a blink, but somehow she manages to get him into the abandoned section of the mall, fight him, lock him in a vent where he calls to Madoka. Madoka comes down here and she wanders around for a while, then she finds the vent and picks him up, all before Homura even finds him again. You are terrible at this, Homura. Sometimes you have to enter a labyrinth or be drawn into it, and sometimes it can just spring up around you with no warning. The rules of the system are not explained, and it makes them extremely unsatisfying when they get played with and then rewritten over and over and over again.
I don't know why this is happening, but we have to save him.
No, you don't.
I don't like this place. Everything keeps changing.
You said it, Madoka. Oh no, mustachioed cotton balls, whatever will we do?
That was close, wasn't it? But don't worry, you're safe now.
Mommy is a liar. When she entered, it looked like she was holding her soul gem, but now it seems to be floating. The camera shows the backs of everyone's heads while they're talking, so they don't have to animate their lips moving. When did Mommy turn around? Where do her shoes go? Mommy's fingerless gloves have a difficult relationship with her hands. It's kind of an on-again, off-again thing.
The witch managed to escape.
We are never shown another time when witches escape from battle. Either they are defeated or the magical girls have to run away. For the most part, it seems that witches are semi-sedentary with their labyrinths and their barriers and only move around when they need to find more prey, so why was this one here in the first place?
Thank you, Mommy. You're a lifesaver.
Kyubey is blatantly deceiving the girls here because, as we find out later, his life was not actually in any danger. He can just conjure up a new body and eat the old one and everything is fine.
I'm here because I have a favor to ask both of you.
No, you're here because Homura almost killed you and they happen to be near enough to hear you cry out for help. Is Kyubey lying or just stupid? A 9th grader lives alone in a massive apartment with at least 2 stories.
It's the source of all our magic, and it also proves that we're magical girls.
This is redundant, and anyway, why would you want to prove you're a magical girl? It seems like a secret thing. None of the girls ask any questions that a normal teenager would ask, such as, why is it called a soul gem?
We could wish for treasure, or eternal youth, or 108-course banquet. Maybe that last one's a bit much.
Just the last one is a bit much? Later in the series, Kyubey makes the point that he never lied to any of them, they just didn't ask him the right questions. But what he does do is make lies of omission, and that's just as bad, which also makes him a double liar.
If magical girls are said to be born from wishes, then witches are creatures born from curses.
I'm not sure, but I think Kyubey is actively lying here. Witches are born from magical girls who fall to despair, and then they make curses that are not born from them. And even if that is technically the case, the series doesn't do a good enough job of explaining it, leaving me confused as to what the rules are and how they work. And that's a sin.
They hide deep within the labyrinths they create.
Why do they bother hiding? Kyubey just said they're invisible.
But remember, death is part of the deal.
They seem to take this in stride, but later when people start actually dying, they act like they were never told this was a dangerous job.
Come along on a few witch hunts with me.
Mommy thinks this is a good idea. I think this is a hospital, but then why do they put their patients in these giant library rooms, and why do they have those library rooms in the first place?
It's okay.
How did you get up there? Why are you there?
I wanted to kill it before it made contact with Madoka Kaname. It's too late for that now.
Only because you let him get away at the mall. Mommy's hair is impossible. Why did she bother wrapping it up? Sayaka and Mommy make fun of Madoka's drawings, which are actually pretty good. They're better than anything I can do. Mommy transforms almost instantly here when it took her a good 15 or 20 seconds to do it before. Why doesn't she just do that all the time? This labyrinth has a giant portal for some reason.
You're really gonna fight it?
I'll be fine. I could never lose.
Mommy is a liar. What was the point of that? Does it come in the contract that you have to do everything as dramatically and stupidly as possible? Why is Mommy firing these guns one by one and by hand when she fired them all at once a minute ago?
I can't let myself look uncool in front of my magical girl trainees.
Mommy is more concerned with looking cool than not dying.
Let's wrap this up.
Ribbon pun.
Hero finale!
Calling your attacks. Where did the teacup come from?
The color of my soul gem looks duller than it did last night, doesn't it?
Not really. It did not look like that 2 seconds ago. Why are their faces so flat and wide? Ah!
I can't even begin to guess how big the soul gem you create would be.
All the other soul gems we see are exactly the same size. Why would Madoka's be any bigger? Just because it is doesn't mean that makes sense. Mommy and Homura are both just walking around this fountain in the middle of the night.
But you're steering them into becoming magical girls.
Oh, and you have a problem with that?
Yes, it's annoying.
Homura says it's annoying instead of, I don't know, dooming them to a horrible and slow death by witchification.
That kind of thinking's only for losers.
Mommy is a total jerk. I don't want to bother counting all of them, so I'm just going to add 5 sins for all the dramatic hair flips Homura does. Who put the grief seed there? 2 8th graders in the future don't have a way of contacting Mommy.
But if the labyrinth opens up, how will we know where the grief seed is? We'll lose track of it.
Why does that matter? You can track witches with soul gems.
Do you honestly think I trust you?
Mommy is a jerk! Once again, poor communication kills. If instead of some vague warnings, Homura had said something like, "There is a witch inside the doll that you think is the witch, watch out," then maybe things would play out differently. And then Homura just stops trying to warn them at all. They have telepathy! Mommy has a random dramatic monologue in a desperate attempt to give her some characterization before they kill her off in 5 minutes.
A celebration to announce the two of us becoming a magical girl duo.
But I can't do something like that for a cake!
You just said you would be a magical girl just for the chance to be a magical girl and help people. Why is it somehow not okay to just add a cake on top of that? That sounds great. This music is awesome. This whole sequence is weirdly bright and uplifting just so that it can punch us in the gut. Mommy thinks this tiny doll that isn't putting up any kind of a fight is the real threat here. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be seeing here. Did Mommy shoot a ribbon through the doll and squeeze out Charlotte? Or did Charlotte squeeze herself out in response to getting shot? Either way, why doesn't Mommy's Tiro Finale just destroy the thing like it did last time? The giant gun disappears after she fires her Tiro Finale, but she's still holding a flintlock. Where did that go? Why doesn't she shoot the thing that's coming at her face? Why doesn't she move at all? Why doesn't she summon another Tiro Finale? She very clearly has all the time she needs to do something, anything, to get out of the way of this witch. I'm adding 5 sins for this. It sure is convenient that Mommy's soul gem was broken by that thing chomping her head off at the neck when it was clearly on a barrette in her hair. Sayaka and Madoka react how real people would actually react in this situation. I'm taking a sin off for that. Homer is pretty awesome, and I want to take a sin off for that, but it's just going to get added right back because Charlotte's stupidity and inability to catch Homer is played for laughs right after Mommy died. That wouldn't be terrible by itself, but it undercuts the point they're trying to make, which is that this is super dangerous and these monsters are not things to be trifled with. That is, if you don't move when it's coming straight at you. This explosion doesn't even singe Homer's eyebrows. The teacher is still rambling about her terrible boyfriend to this class of 8th graders. Mommy went to this school, how does nobody notice that she's gone?
Just thinking about the way she died. Even now, it gets so hard to breathe.
This town has been Mommy's for a long time. Once the other magical girls find out she's gone, they'll come.
Matakihara is a huge town, and Mommy kept the whole thing under control by herself? I don't think so.
No, I apologize for getting you mixed up in all this. We weren't together for very long, but it was fun.
Kyubei is supposed to not have emotions, but he is pretty clearly displaying emotions here, such as sorrow and, wistfulness. How does Madoka get into Mommy's apartment?
I get the feeling you're a veteran at this too.
Perhaps. I can't deny it.
Those two statements are contradictory.
She didn't have any family to speak of, and it'll be a very long time before she's reported missing.
Isn't all of that so convenient?
If you die in a labyrinth, your body stays there. She'll be considered a missing person forever.
Why didn't they just take Mommy's body out of the labyrinth? Will no one at the school or in the apartment building notice that she's gone? Why doesn't one of them report her missing? Hitomi just happens to be affected by a witch, and Madoka just happens to be in the same place to watch her walk by.
But those chemicals are really dangerous. If you mix them together like that, everyone here could die.
How does Madoka know this? Sayaka ex machina.
No capes.
You could say I sorta had a change of heart.
You could also say I sold my soul to a demon ferret from outer space.
And you don't have any regrets about it? I guess if I had to pick one, it'd be that I waited as long as I did.
How long has it been? A week? Why are all these people on the roof? You wanted to throw that away? You could sell that for $200.
There's no way I'll ever regret it.
You cannot promise that.
This is the happiest moment of my life.
I mean, be happy, but if this is the happiest moment of your life must suck.
If she's a magical girl, then she'd had to have made a contract with you, right?
You could say yes. You could also say no.
This may not be an outright lie, but it's definitely an obvious deception. Why doesn't Kyoko ask him what he means? Kyoko is talking with her mouth full. This stoplight.
Ready to go hunt some witches now, just like we used to?
What are you talking about? You got sucked up into one labyrinth and then Mommy took you along on another one where she died. Kyoko eats this whatever it is to make her look like more of a jerk.
You don't want to snuff the goose before it lays the golden egg.
Kyoko is a heartless, horrible person.
But it's because of magical girls like you that Mommy's dead.
No it's not, Sayaka.
Whose side are you on anyway?
I'm on the side of those who think rationally, and the enemy of idiots who pick fights.
I don't know why you keep ignoring me.
Maybe it's because you don't actually tell her what the problem is. Kyoko is dancing to a remixed version of the opening theme. How did Homura know Kyoko would be here?
Sayaka Miki is not.
If I leave her alone, she'll start bugging me again.
You attacked her!
You passed your childhood with an A+.
Madoka's mom grades her kids' childhoods.
You should learn how to make the right kind of mistakes.
You mean like that time when I went to Tijuana, met up with a... well, that's a story for another time. What kind of homework is Madoka doing here? When did they come here from wherever else they were?
The annoying has an annoying friend. Go figure.
I wonder what kind of friends you have then.
I know Homura is using time stopping to do this, but wouldn't they notice her shield clicking and clanking every time? Convenient truck bed is convenient, and a truck bed. Kyoko grabs Sayaka from the side of the neck but is holding her from the front in the next shot. The limits of Homura's time stop ability are also never explained. Based on what we've seen, she should be able to just stop time and then walk up to the truck, but she has to do this weird blinking thing instead.
There's a limit to how far a magical girl can be from her body. If it's beyond 100 meters, you lose control of it.
Overly specific limit is overly specific.
What does that mean? 100 meters? What are you talking about?
It is a measure of distance. That should be obvious.
Your soul is your real body.
That is a contradiction, or a translating error. Either way, that's a sin.
Are you saying you turned us into zombies? Is that what you did?
Actually, you're more like liches, but whatever.
Why are humans so sensitive about the kind of container their souls are housed in?
I don't have a whole lot of experience with shocking revelations like this, but I think if I were in this situation, I would agree with Kyubey here. And agreeing with Kyubey makes me feel like a piece of human garbage. There's no reason for it to take this long for Sayaka to figure out how to use her body again. If Sayaka is actually in the Soul Gem, then why doesn't she remember being thrown off a bridge and carried away on a truck?
But magical girls have to keep using small amounts of magic just to maintain our bodies. That's why in the end we have to collect grief seeds.
I guess that makes sense, but why not just use as little magic as possible and only fight witches every couple of months or so instead of like every other day? You don't need all of the magic in your Soul Gem to fight just one witch, so if you took it easy, you would be able to top off without hurting yourself or pushing yourself too far.
Why wouldn't you tell us something like that? Because you never asked me.
That is the laziest excuse you could possibly come up with. Kyubey made a lie of omission and now he's pretending like he didn't. Again, this makes him a double liar. If you try hard enough, you won't even feel any pain. Let me just torture you to make a point. Kyoko, more like Kyoko Variacto. This church is huge and has nowhere for people to sit. Also, I thought Kyoko was in a different town before. How much money did Kyoko's dad make from being a priest?
Then my dad found out about what was really going on.
You cannot just gloss over that. How did he find out what was really going on?
And then he called me, his own daughter, an evil witch who corrupted his flock.
I mean, he wasn't wrong. You did do that.
He killed my family, and then he committed suicide, leaving me behind.
Why did he leave you behind?
Miracles aren't free, you know? If you wish for something good to happen, a whole lot of bad stuff's gonna happen too.
Various characters keep reinforcing that even if you do the right thing, you can't get a happy ending, and that using magic for selfless reasons is just going to hurt you in the end. This isn't a sin yet, but oh boy, it will be.
You just got done telling me all about how you're in this for yourself. Why are you worrying about me all of a sudden?
Sayaka is still great at sentence error. Kyoko eats an apple to make her look like more of a jerk. Teenage romantic drama. Teenage romantic drama is what drives Sayaka into despair. This is horrifying. I don't really buy Sayaka's despair. It's supposed to come about to balance all the joy that comes from your wish, but Sayaka seems to be mostly upset about the Soul Gem thing, and not Kyosuke, which she seemed to get over pretty quickly.
If you're so gung-ho about helping me, why don't you try putting yourself in my shoes for a second?
Sayaka is being totally unreasonable. You guys, get out of the rain, you're gonna catch a cold or something. Also, weather follows the emotions of the characters cliche. It did not look like that when she showed it to Madoka. What is this white void room that Homura lives in?
Walpurgis Nacht is supposed to appear in this area.
What makes you sure that's the place?
Statistics.
Not only is that not how statistics works, but why are you even bothering to answer? Last time Kyoko asked, you just said it's not her business, and she seemed to accept it.
I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about.
How does Kyubey figure out that Homura knows more than she's letting on? He doesn't learn about the timeline thing until later. Why is Kyubey walking if he can apparently just teleport into here? Why can't he teleport out?
There's no point trying to kill that creature.
Then why do you keep trying to do it? What is Sayaka doing there, and how do neither of them notice her?
What have I been fighting for all this time?
All what time? It's been like 3 days!
Madoka, if you wished it, you could even become the god of this world.
When Madoka finally makes her wish, Kyubey shouts, "Are you trying to become a god?" Like he didn't suggest that? Also, Kyubey said he wasn't allowed to suggest wishes.
Suggesting a wish is also against the rules.
Homura ex machina. Littering. Alternate timeline memories ex machina. Homura, if you wanted to stop her, you could just stop time and walk in front of her. It's not that difficult.
You knew there was no point in doing that. You don't learn, do you?
Kyubey would be great at sentence error. Auto-cannibalism.
That's the second time you've killed me.
When did she kill him the first time? Do you mean the time in the mall? Because she failed.
That was time manipulation.
How did you figure that out from that?
You're not from this timeline, are you?
Yeah, because that follows.
Or should I say, incubator.
She says this like it's a really dramatic reveal, but we have no idea what that means. This whole series is them just stumbling upon random people in the middle of nowhere. How do they all find each other so easily? Why is the tear what triggers her transformation other than for dramatic effect? We never see any of the other witches' human bodies, so why does Sayaka's stick around? Sayaka!
On this planet,
You call females who have yet to become adults girls. It makes sense then that since you'll eventually become witches, you should be called magical girls.
Why is Kyubey on top of the screen? Who is he talking to? Why did he turn towards the camera? Are witches and magical girls really named for a pun? What about in other and older cultures that didn't have the concept of a witch? Did no one ever make that connection? Did they think we wouldn't understand what was happening to Sayaka if Kyubey didn't spell it out for us? I'm adding 10 cents for this stupid scene. None of the muggles noticed this giant explosion, so what's the point of it?
Being Madoka is suffering.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. There will be a part 2 coming soon to do the second movie, and there will not be a part 3 because I don't want to seem like a total hack. Happy New Year!